Now let's move forward. So our next property is something that I am going to do without proof. I claim that the exponent of any number r, any prime p, the exponent of any prime p in r factorial, where r pretty much belongs to any natural number, is given by the following expression: r by p plus r by p squared plus r by p cubed plus r by p to the power 4. And these brackets signify the greatest integer function. These are not normal third brackets or square brackets, as you say. This is the greatest integer function, and you go on this way up to infinity. But you really do not have to calculate all the numbers up to infinity. You are going to see something very special happening after you proceed a couple of steps. Let me show you. Let me demonstrate this to you by using an example. Let's say I wish to find the exponent of 3 in 100 factorial, right? So let me use this formula. So greatest integer function of 100 by 3 plus greatest integer function of 100 by 3 squared plus greatest integer function of 100 by 3 cubed plus greatest integer function of 100 by 3 to the power 4 plus greatest integer function of 100 by 3 to the power 5, and so on. I have to go on, but let me show you something. Let us calculate this part. So 100 by 3 leaves is 33.333. So the greatest integer of 33.333 is 33. The 100 divided by 9, it is 11 point something, and the greatest integer function of 11 point something is 11. And 100 divided by 3 cubed is 100 divided by 27. So 100 divided by 27 is 3 point something. The greatest integer function of 3 point something is simply equal to 3. 100 raised to the power 3 to 100 divided by 3 to the power 4. It is actually 1 point something, and the greatest integer function of 1 point something is pretty much 1. Now 3 to the power 5 is 243. So 100 divided by 3 to the power 5 is 0 point something, and the greatest integer function of 0 point something is 0. And 3 to the power 6 is definitely going to be greater than 3 to the power 5. So from 3 to the power 5, if I from 3 to the power 5, if you go to further higher exponents of 3, then dividing 100 by those exponents will leave greatest integer as 0. Okay, so 3 to the power 6, 100 by 3 to the power 6 is also 0 point something, and the greatest integer of that is also 0. 100 by 3 to the power 7 is the greatest integer of 100 by 3 to the power 6 is also 0, and so on. So basically you do not have to consider the you do not have to consider the brackets after a certain number of steps. So all these numbers are going to be 0 after a finite exponent. So then you have to calculate. So it is 33 plus 11 is 44. 44 and 3 is 47. 47 and 1 is 48. So basically what we want to say is that 3 to the power 48 exactly divides 100 factorial. So if I say 3 to the power 49, 3 to the power 49 is going to be greater than 100 factorial. Okay. So that is what we mean by the statement: the highest power of an exponent of a prime number in 100 factorial. Now this process cannot be applied directly in case of composite numbers. So if I am asking you what is the highest exponent of 6, let me denote it like this: exponent of 6. Let me denote it like this rather. So when I write this symbol, I mean exponent of 6 in 100 factorial. Okay, so when I write E P R factorial, I mean exponent of P in R factorial. This is not really a standard notation. This is something which I invent for this video, this particular lesson only. So don't take it as something which is universal. So if I ask you what is this thing, basically what is the highest exponent of 6 in 100 factorial, you cannot do it directly by using the formula. You have to divide 6 into two parts. 6 is basically 2 times 3, and then you have to individually calculate the power of 2 in 100 factorial, and we have already calculated the power of 3 in 100 factorial. You don't have to remember that, so basically you have to also calculate the power of 3 in 100 factorial, and then you have to see which one gives minimum, which power is minimum. So if the power of 2 in 100 factorial is m1 and the power of 3 is in 100 factorial is, for the time being, assume it to be m2, assume that we do not know as of yet. And if I say that if I see that m1 is less than m2, then we have to say that the power of 6 will be m1. Why? Because of course 3's will remain. If there are not 1 2 and 1 3 multiplied to give you 1 6. So if there are only m1 2's, then m2 minus m1 3's will remain. These m2 minus m1 3's will not have any 2 to multiply themselves with and yield 6, right? So let me give you an example. So let us calculate this only. Okay, so let us try to calculate a different problem. That what is the power of 10 in, let's say, 50. Okay, so let's do this one. What is the power of 10 in, let's say, 54 factorial? No, let's not take 54 factorial, it will be over too soon. So let's take 501 factorial. Yeah, 501 factorial. This is basically not equal to this. This is not equal to 10 squared, 500 by 10 cube, and so on. Okay, so this is not this one. So 10 is 2 into 5. So you have to find out the exponent of 2 in 500, exponent of 2 in 501 factorial, and you have to find the exponent of 3 and of exponent of 5 in 501 factorial. Okay, so the exponent of 2 in 501 factorial is 501 by 2, 501 by 4, 501 by 8, 501 by 16, 501 by 32, 501 by 64. These are powers of 2. I hope you can understand. 501 by 128, 501 by 256, 501 by 512, and I do not have to check further because this part itself is going to yield 0, and subsequent powers of 2 will also yield 0. So you have to add all this. So 250 and 100 is 350. So 350 and 25 is 375. 375 and 60. So 375 and 60. Let us do it. 430, 432. 375 and 60 was 435. And 2 is 437. 437 and 31 is 467, and 1 is 468. 468 and 10 is 478. 478 and 5 is 483. 483 and 7 is going to be 500. No, sorry, 43 and 7 is going to be 490. 490 and 3 is going to be 493. 493 and 1 is going to be 494. And now we have to calculate the exponent of 5 in 501 factorial. That is pretty much square 501 by 5 cube, 501 by 5 to the power 4, and I don't think we have to write further. So it is pretty much 1 0 0. This is 2 20, this is 4, and this is, I guess, 501 divided by 625, which is 0. So this is equal to 124, if I am not wrong. Let me check once again. Yeah, so 124. Now the exponent of 5 in 501 is equal to 124, and the exponent of 2 in 501 is 494. Now out of 124 and 494, 124 is smaller, so the exponent of 10 in 501 is basically 124. 501 factorial is basically 124, right? So because you see 1, 2 and 1, 5 make up 10. So if there are only 124 5s, then only 124 10s could be made. It is like the limiting reagent concept in chemistry. Okay, so this is what it is seldom. This is one of the very few times where mathematics is taking an example from chemistry. Anyway, so this is the exponent of 10 in 501 factorial. It is 124. So this also means that the number of zeros at the end of 501 factorial is 10, because each 10 gives rise to 1 zero is 124, right? Each 10 gives rise to 1 zero, so 124 tens will give rise to 124 zeros at the end of 501 factorial. Okay, so this was the content for this video. So let us discuss some more concepts in the next video, and after that we are going to start off with the real binomial theorem.